Keith will be missed. I've been listening to his music since I was a little kid, and he just died this week. Hey everyone, today we are driving up into northern Ontario. We'll be coming up to Timmins, Ontario in about a half an hour, about a half an hour, maybe an hour, and we'll be staying there for the night. We found actually a pretty cheap hotel for Canada standards. A lot of things here are a lot more money, but we found a good deal on a hotel that's only got 5 out of 10 stars, so it might not be the nicest, but hopefully that just means it's dated. In my experience, usually hotels, if they're cheap like that, they're usually just dated, not necessarily nasty or anything. Then tomorrow we're going to continue a lot longer, further north. We're going to try to go as far north as we can until the roads end or become impassable because they're dirt roads and a lot of them aren't plowed that far north. A lot of small towns in northern Ontario, they're only accessible in the wintertime by airplane because they don't plow the roads all the way there. You can't see too much now because it's dark, but I'll make a separate vlog in the daytime. Northern Ontario is very rocky, lots of hills up and down. The bedrock is very shallow, so the trees grow very short. And we are a lot further north than Maine, but the elevation is a lot less here. It's actually not that cold out. We're sitting at 33 Fahrenheit or 1 degree Celsius right now. For the past hour or so, it's been snowing lightly. You can see it accumulated on the edge of the road, but it's still nicely salted, not cold enough to freeze. And we did see 2 moose today in the middle of the road, about an hour or so back, so we could see more moose here. We are far north, though. There are apparently a lot of moose. We keep passing moose crossing signs. It looks like it's the perfect wilderness for moose, and there's another moose crossing sign. All the signs here, unlike in Maine, they show the moose running across the road. In my experience, a moose typically won't be running across the road, but they're a dark creature, and especially in conditions like this, they're just suddenly there because you can't see them. They're not like a deer. They're not light colored. They don't show up very well at night. Moose also, they don't seem to run in front of cars. Usually if you hit them, they're already standing there. They're already around a blind corner, something like that. I've never had a close encounter with a moose. Just deer. They seem to race you sometimes, try to get in front of the car. I think it's because they think you're a predator and they're trying to zigzag and confuse you. They also will just randomly dart out in the road. They're very skittish. They like to jump around a lot. Moose aren't like that. And the areas I usually explore, there's a lot more moose than deer. Deer like wide open spaces, stuff like that. And moose, they like dark woods, wilderness. Slow down a little bit.
Okay. Shit, I can't see anything.
Yeah, you can barely see, so slow down a little bit. Hopefully the snow lets back up where I'll drive a little bit. So everyone, today you can't see that great out because I'm not driving my truck. We don't have the truck with the off-road lights, although those wouldn't really help. Fog lights might help a little bit, but today I'm not driving, my girlfriend's driving the car here in Canada. I'm up here in the car because she's learning how to drive right now. We're going on 8 hours of her driving, just so she can get the experience and hopefully pass a driving test this week. In the United States, you have to be 25 years old with 3 years experience to teach someone to drive. Here in Canada, you need 3 years experience, but you only have to be 21. And I'm 22, so I am able to teach her how to drive. And this is the first time she's ever actually driven in the snow. You want to maybe slow down right now.
Okay.
Slow down. You can't really see where the road is, so just go slow. And I'll take over if you want me to.
Okay, hold on. Should I pull over?
You want me to take over?
Hold on. I think I can.
It's becoming a little light now, but you can't see the lines, so just go slow and pay attention to the reflectors. Keep it slow. Yeah, we got 58 minutes left until we get to the hotel. Alright, just pull over. Stop. Do not go over there. Do not. There's a big drop there. Don't pull all the way over. Just stop right here. Just stop right here. Shut the high beam off. And I'm going to drive now.
Okay. I'm sorry, baby.
It's fine. I'm gonna drive now. Yeah, I'm gonna keep the camera going because I'm gonna continue on my way. Yeah, this truck just can't see what we're doing. All right, we'll switch. We don't have any turns for another 78 kilometers, so it's all straight from here. Let me readjust the mirrors a little bit. Here, you just watch the map and tell me when I have to turn. I don't have to turn for 78 kilometers, so we're good. Let's see how slippery this actually was. Brake check. Yeah, so pretty slippery. Even with the studded tires, you slip a little bit on here. One more brake check. Yeah, so you're not going to be stopping on this very quickly. There's about a half an inch of snow on the road right now. It's no longer whiteout conditions, but I can't see the lines on the road. Thankfully, we're in the middle of nowhere and there's no traffic really. I'm not sure if northern Canada allows you to use off-road lights as a high beam, but I know a lot of areas I go to do allow you to use that. Just gotta look out for things like moose out here. The road's not that bad. It's just the visibility is the issue for me. I do have the studded tires, which do help a bit. You know, up here I was looking at some land for sale and it's very cheap up here, and I'm seeing, just traveling up here, why every little town is hours and hours apart from each other, and the bedrock is very shallow, meaning it would be very hard to dig any type of foundation, make a road. It would cost a lot of jackhammering and blasting, and the soil's very shallow, not good for growing much of anything. The trees are very short and scraggly this far north, but because it's very rough terrain, there's lots of areas that collect water. There's ponds absolutely everywhere, which is really cool. You look at the map, northern Canada is just hundreds of thousands of teeny little ponds everywhere. And I'm also noticing when there's daylight, we just all day long passing hundreds and hundreds of beaver lodges. They're everywhere. I can't wait until the spring thaw to explore some Canadian logging roads, because there's probably a lot more beavers up here. Going around a corner right now. And in whiteout conditions, this is kind of dangerous because these corners, some of them don't have any reflectors at all, because not many people use these roads, so they're not going to probably spend the money on guardrails and all the reflectors like if it was more heavily traveled. The speed limit here is 80 kilometers or 50 miles an hour. I'm doing about that right now, as long as the road is straight. You can actually see a lot better on the camera than I can in real life. Cameras are able to see through snow, fog, mist, rain a little bit better than the human eye, because the camera has perfect eyesight. Most humans don't, so that's why it can see a lot better than I can. Hopefully the snow doesn't come down too deep overnight. The last time I checked the forecast, we were down south a lot towards towards Toronto. There's not many cars. We haven't passed a house or a building in quite a few hours. Actually, there was one random gas station out here in the middle of nowhere. But where we're staying, the city or town of Timmins, it looks pretty big considering the amount of wilderness around it. expensive, even more expensive than Canada in general. A lot of things are, I'm noticing being in Canada the past couple of months, is everything on average compared to where I live in the United States is about twice the price. You got to factor in that the Canadian dollar is worth 36% less, so it's not exactly twice the price. But when you do the math, things like gasoline, it comes out to around $6 a gallon up here, which is about twice the price from where I live. It's more like closer to California prices, actually a little bit more expensive than there. I can kind of see the yellow line. But unless a car is coming, I'll just be careful. Here comes a car. High beams on this car don't really do that much. If I was driving my truck, it would make a very big difference. You see the high beams on the car don't make a huge difference. And if you forget them on, some people don't even realize they're on when you go by. Because a lot of newer vehicles and trucks have such bright lights now. But the snow's helping a lot, especially for filming, illuminating a lot. How much more distance do we got?
We got, sorry.
Time-wise?
Time-wise, 53 minutes.
Alright. I'll end this little vlog here now, and I'll make another vlog tomorrow when it's daylight so I can show the trees. The trees are interesting up here. They're extremely skinny and scrawny. I don't know if it's a combination of having bad soil, but it's definitely because there's supposed to be a lot of snow up here this time of year, but this year's been very warm, even in northern Canada. There's barely any snowpack, so I'm hoping that means we'll be able to go down some logging roads and find a nice place to camp tomorrow with the hot tent. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great night. Alright, everyone, we are at the hotel. It's probably about 4 hours later. We've been here a while. Probably 10 minutes after we walked in the door, the power went out for about an hour, came back on. It is snowing outside. Maybe someone slid into the pole or something. But it's a very tiny hotel room. This is a regular camera, so you can see. But often when I film things, I like to use panoramic, which makes the rooms actually seem a little bit bigger. But this is actually really cool. So this place here was $70 for the night, probably closer to $50 in US dollars. It came with a little hot plate, never seen that in a motel room before. Came with a little bit of silverware, that looks kind of cool. Microwave, refrigerator. We got some Tim Hortons BLTs for breakfast before we head out. They have a little coffee maker it came with. The TV, it turns on, but we couldn't figure out how to get the cable box to turn on. The cable box is hot, like it's doing something, but the remote won't turn it on. It doesn't matter. Here's an air conditioner. Here's this, I guess, to suck out the cooking smell of this, maybe? I don't know. Something like that. But that's some kind of extra vent. And look at this, because the air conditioner is always here, they have like this homemade thing here for the window. You can see the window used to go up and maybe latch, but now it's like homemade glass. Yeah, pretty cold out. Just a little below the freezing mark. But what was actually really cool was, on the way up here today, there was a big sign on the highway saying, well, that fan's actually loud. There was actually a sign on the highway saying that, warning, do not feed the polar bears. We looked it up, and yeah, it's actually possible. We're that far north that there's possibility of polar bears, I guess. And as we continue north, tomorrow we plan on heading another 3 to 5 hours north before we end up camping somewhere. Yeah, there is a possibility of polar bears. So these hotel rooms, we always look for the cheaper ones like this, and sometimes you get a little bit of mold, but this one actually is extremely clean. Very good shape. It's just dated. The place is pretty old, which is actually interesting. I think it gives buildings character. It's got this old coffee colored tub, which is kind of cool. And every time I come into a hotel, I always have to do this. I always have to open the toilet tank, especially when it's an older building, because I'm always curious. How old is the toilet? It almost always says inside of the lid. What's it say? 2002, so I'm guessing it's a replacement toilet, probably. There's a lot of sediment down in the bottom of there. It looks nasty, but it's just sediment. Because who flushes out a toilet tank? You would never notice unless it was stirred up. Cool. And we'll make a camping video tomorrow at some point. That'd be kind of cool to see a polar bear, although I do believe that's the most dangerous kind of bear, even more unpredictable than a grizzly.